Oh, and don't let me leave.
Can you hear me? Microphone check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1.
Can you hear me from back here?
You just keep going. Don't you worry. You're co-host today. We're going to find out shortly if everything is working properly. Can everybody hear everybody?
Danny G is the co-host.
Danny G is the co-host.
I can hear everybody loud.
Everybody
and
can
clear.
hear loud and clear. We're going to turn on these headphones here and make sure that everybody is comfortable and stuff and shit like that.
So, Shannon, did you get the wide-angle lens for the show tonight?
Of course I did.
Okay.
I always have the wide angle lens on.
Okay.
That's how I do it. It's crazy, but it's true. No joke, no joke. Well, we're going to see how everything is going. But everybody out there, hey, what's going on? It's your boy from Brooklyn, Shannon Ambrosio, and it is another wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Early evening, late afternoon on the Everything and Nothing podcast. It is February the 9th, isn't it, folks? Let's just see if I'm right.
You're right.
Am I?
You're right.
Yes.
What do you think, JB?
I think so.
All right, we'll go with the 9th today. I have calendar difficulties sometimes, but that's just the way it goes.
Senility.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's the way it goes, folks. I don't know why, but it happens like that. But today, I have some wonderful, wonderful guests. And if I'm not mistaken, everybody out there, we're live on Facebook right now, too. So if anybody on your phone, go on Facebook and see if this is broadcasting live. We should be live on both at this point. We're breaking ground here, folks, on the Everything and Nothing podcast. First, I was just doing audio. Then I was doing YouTube in it. And now I'm on YouTube and Facebook, but live, folks, live. The Everything and Nothing podcast is starting to come along like hot peas to butter. And that's what's going down.
Like a hot butter on a breakfast toast.
So great. Now listen to me, folks, everybody out there on today's podcast, the Everything and Nothing podcast.
It's Facebook land.
And everybody in Facebook land. That's right. Thanks for reminding me, Chris. We're on Facebook Live as well. So listen to me, folks. Today it's all about how to be a blue-collar tradesman. And that's basically everybody at this table here is doing some kind of blue-collar work to make a living. And in honor of the Oscars, we have the Oscars here. Let's see who's going to get an Oscar tonight for what they're going to get an Oscar for. So we're going to be giving out Oscars here. Where did you know? Did you know you were coming to a podcast today where you would be getting an Oscar?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't know at all.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're in for a special treat. And you know why? It's all about the goats and hoes, folks. Now, without further ado, on this wonderful evening where Oscar is present, and this man right here, knowing Oscar the Grouch personally, being one of New York City's smelliest jobs there is, but the most recognized job there is. I kid you not, folks. He's not full of it. He has a lot of it. But your man, Danny Gags, and the Danny G stands for garbage removal. Tell him, everybody, what's up?
What's up, Facebook land, YouTube?
That's it?
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That was a big lead up.
Short and sweet.
Wait a minute here. I did this super duper introduction. My man,
Okay, I'm sorry.
co-hosting the Everything and Nothing
I'm
podcast
sorry.
today. And
What's everybody doing today on this beautiful Sunday? We had a great, fantastic dinner today.
oh, did you?
Oh, yes, we did.
And how did that happen?
Oh, my God. We got to ask that chef, Shannon Ambrosio.
Oh, hey, how's everybody doing out there? What'd you have, D?
Oh, my God. What didn't we have? Shrimp.
Well, don't tell them what we didn't have. But tell them what we had.
We had shrimp.
Rubens. Meatball.
little mini meatball palm.
Yeah. Salad.
We had the beef
Antipasta.
steak, antipasta.
And
You
what was
are-
it?
Oh, and you brought the cannolis. We're gonna bring them
Oh,
down.
the cannolis. Yeah, there we
Danny,
go.
you are a minimalist. I'm just gonna say.
He is.
You're a minimalist.
He's a
I can't wait.
You're not doing any of the food that this man cooked any justice.
Everything was delicious.
What do you think? Now,
You have to paint a picture
yes,
with your words.
like Michelangelo.
I'm a garbage man. I don't paint. I remove garbage.
He's
Well,
like,
actually, I'm a supervisor.
you got
I
rubbish.
remove-
You got rubbish. I'm gonna remove it.
That's it.
That's just how it goes. And you know how it goes here, folks, on the Everything and Nothing podcast? It goes to the left of my man, Danny. We've been friends forever, and that's so long we don't remember. I'll tell you that much right now.
It's forever.
He's ironclad, and he's got the bald head to show it. My man, Iron Chris.
What's up, Facebook land?
And YouTube. We're on YouTube, too.
And YouTube.
And
land?
YouTube.
Yeah, like Shannon said, we go back further than far goes. It's just-
We go further back than the calendar dates and shit.
really.
Wait, we go back so far, JB. We know each other so long, us three. There wasn't even cell phones back then.
What was that? There weren't even beepers when we were kids.
They're just coming out.
Right?
You know? It's
Hey,
crazy.
I don't know, but we used to break.
Yeah, we used to break dance.
Look at me now.
He still breaks, but it's usually arms and legs. That's usually what it is, right? So tell everybody, what's it like to be up there in the high rise in the iron world?
Okay, so I'm a union iron worker, local 361, best local in the world. Just saying.
Just saying?
Just saying.
I got you.
It's one of the most difficult jobs in the world. Dangerous, but also rewarding, fulfilling, and exciting.
And the money part?
Oh, forget about it.
All right. That's all you got to say.
I-
So, folks,
I take care of my family.
eat your iron every day.
Just saying.
That's what's up. And to write to me without any introduction, the only reason I speak about this man in the manner I do is because he is teaching the future. My man, JB, used to push a broom, and now he's pushing minds to greatness, folks. He's a laborer. He is now a school teacher. And so what are you learning them kids out there?
Truly, everything.
Everything.
Teaching these
Oh.
kids everything.
Everything.
Everything and anything.
That's what's up right there.
I'm not a teacher just yet.
But you're on your way.
I'm a student teacher, so I'm getting there. But hello, Facebook, by the way. I don't want
And
to miss
YouTube.
that part. But
Everybody.
I'm teaching, and it's going pretty well. But obviously laboring on
Yeah.
Saturdays, and we spent the summer together.
Yeah, summer and the
Hell of
winter.
a summer.
And the winter break. You know, and I dig that. I hear the reverb. I got the volume up. We got to turn the volume down on this. Oh, there we go. But JB works with me on the job, and he came in last summer and worked the summer with me. And this man is not afraid to work. I'll tell you that much. You know, a lot of people have this misconception nowadays that this younger generation is lazy and that they're not willing to do, right? Like menial labor and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But there are young people like yourself, Joe, who are like, yo, I want to learn the hustle. And the hustle means that construction sometimes is the way to go, right? You
100%.
you can make a little bit of money quick.
Money's in your pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's really this in the years it's starting to get better a little bit now. But years ago, right, Chris and Danny, tell me if I'm wrong, like years ago, you know, working construction or in the trades, like it was, people didn't look up to that. It was almost like, oh, you go to college and become a doctor and become a lawyer and you know, study and do this and that, which is great. You should. But in reality, we all know as tradesmen and blue collar workers, yo, you make loot. You make loot.
I just think, you know, a different time, a different generation,
Right.
that our families, our parents, they wanted us to not have to work as hard as they did.
Right.
They
100%.
back in the day when an education meant a lot more than it does today.
Right.
A college degree back then was like a master's degree today.
Right. You got Facebook on?
No, I
And-
got
Put Facebook on.
And
Go ahead.
and you know, for a lot of people that was fine.
Right.
You know, go to college, get an education. I wanted to be like my father.
Right.
I wanted to use my hands. You know, when he did stuff around the house, I was right up his ass, and I wanted to be, you know, shown what to do, how to do it. I always wanted to have the hammer in my hand. I always wanted, and you know, building stuff makes me feel good.
Right.
Like I get done, I see something that I created.
The completion.
You know, and I get satisfaction out of that.
Right.
And you know, but we came from a generation where all we did was hustle.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We used to bag groceries at wall bombs together.
And in the summer, we always had summer jobs.
Cents.
Yeah. And we always had summer jobs.
Always.
And when it
Shoveling.
snowed, right, shoveling. You do that, right?
Yeah.
We always hustled.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't see any kids in my neighborhood shoveling.
No. Well, let me tell you, the difference is too, right? So the idea is what your children see you do and what you have them influence to do. So in other words, if you're always preaching to your kids nowadays, oh, go to school, get an education, blah, 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 and you never say to them, well, shit, you know, sometimes a hard day's labor is just as rewarding and can give you a different satisfaction. It's, you know, it's not always about, oh, that's below me or that's beneath me. I don't think I should have to do that. I'm like, shit, well, if you know how to do it, you're that much smarter of a person, period, end, right?
100%.
Yep.
They say, like, even like billionaires, you know, like they're cheap people.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, a dollar is a dollar.
Dollar. Right.
So that's all it is to me.
Right. And it doesn't really, like, nothing discriminates on how you make the dollar. Right?
Yeah.
What happened?
I can't find it.
You can't find nothing? You can't.
Not on Facebook.
You can't find it? You can't. I don't think I'm on. I hope we're on Facebook.
I don't see it here,
So
brother.
it's why I didn't see it come up.
Oh. I wonder why.
I went to you. It should come up, right?
Right. I should have a live feed going on right now.
But we're on YouTube, though, right?
We're on both. We should be on both.
We're on YouTube.
Yeah. But we should be on Facebook too, which I don't understand why it's not broadcasting. But I'm not sure why. Again, I'm having a little difficulty with this, setting this up. And Johnny Boy couldn't be here today to give me a little hand to, make sure that this got set up. But, I did the best I could. But listen, as long as I'm, on my live feed on Facebook, on YouTube, that's where my podcast really lives.
I mean, that's where it's going to be at the end of it now.
Correct. But I was hoping that the Facebook thing would have worked, and I don't know why it didn't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, right, Dan? But talking about the whole idea of the generation thing, I think it's great that somebody like you and in your age group, where you wouldn't find most of you young guys going out and say, hey, I'm going to go work construction for the summertime, because, that's a cool way to make a few bucks and maybe I can learn something, I think a lot of people move past that. But if you have somebody that comes from a blue-collar family like yourself, your father was, a fireman?
Father, firefighter. My mom was a waitress for 20 years, and now she's a county clerk.
Right.
So,
you learn that day's work for a day's pay is a good way to be. It doesn't always have to be that whole, like, oh my God, I got to look for something better all the time. Sometimes it's the idea of doing something that you're just like, this is what I want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
I love what I do. Like it's hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's physically taxing. Hard on the body. Very dangerous if you're not paying attention.
Oh, extremely.
All right.
Anything in the trades is.
But I love what I do. I mean, I have fun all day.
Yeah.
Laughing and joking with the guys.
Yeah.
We make lots of stupid jokes, like with 10 and 12.
Right.
and most of the stuff that we say on a job site, you never want to say in public.
Right.
But
but that's the idea of the camaraderie amongst the guys that are working together. And even, it's funny nowadays too, women, like you have a lot of women that are coming in the trades. We have a lot of women that work on our jobs and everything. And the idea is that the diversity is much more accepting now, which I like, but also the idea that physical kind of work can be done by anybody, literally. And I like that.
There's more and more women coming on sanitation now.
Yeah.
They are, they're not afraid to pick up the garbage. They're not afraid to do anything.
Yep. Well, I think nowadays that people are finally starting to realize is that, like I said before, most of these kinds of jobs in blue collar and tradesmen and stuff like that weren't really like, you did that because it was like, oh, that's your necessity. If you got to make $1, you got to learn a trade. But nowadays, it's kind of like, yo, I love what I do. I love my trade, and I'm good at it, and I can make a really good living. Not just like, oh, I'm paying my bills. You could do really well.
You could do really well.
Yeah, manage your money right, absolutely.
Without a doubt, really good way to go. And when we talk about what Danny does, what's up?
Well, when you say you can make a good living in the trades,
Yes.
you can make a great living in the trades as long as you're union.
Well, let's not live on both sides of that fence.
Okay.
What we're talking about is the idea of just working in the trades. Which side of the fence you on all depends on connections, who you know, what your job is,
Absolutely
and
not.
so on and so forth.
Absolutely not.
So the idea is that if that's what you're looking for, then that's what you seek out.
Yes.
And that's what
That's
you'll
what
get.
I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anybody in the business. I found out about the recruiting for getting into the ironworkers.
Right.
I went with a sleeping bag and a tent, and I slept from Friday night till Tuesday morning
Right.
to be able to get into my union for the right to give them $25 to take a test.
Yes.
Took a written test, passed the written test. Then I had to take a physical, and I had to take a drug.
Yes.
And once you passed all of those, then you had the right to be an apprentice
How
for
many
3 years.
How many times did you have to take that one?
Once, ladies and gentlemen. Clean and sober over 20 years.
But yes, God bless his soul,
bless.
folks.
God bless the world.
God bless his soul, folks. That's how long I know Chris.
It's better for the world. that
But
way.
but it's true, right? A lot of people have that misconception of like, oh my God, it's hard to get into the union or whatever the case may be. And in some instances,
you have to be driven. That's,
yes,
that's, all I
that's the
gotta
truth.
say.
But
You
that's
gotta
just
be
about
driven.
anything, right? Take JB for instance, right?
Absolutely.
Summertime coming to hustle, wintertime coming to hustle, come school time,
School hustle.
full time,
School hustle.
like it's nothing. And now making the transition. But the idea.
Hey, I'm still on Saturdays. I'm still on
Yes,
Saturdays.
yes, he is. He's still with us. But that's what I love about the idea of the hustle. And what's funny is that rings true. I think a lot of us, with us blue collar workers, because you were talking about it earlier, right? I think we're a different kind of physicality when it comes to work ethic, right? We'll work 7 days, 10 hours a day if that work is there.
I got paid
right?
for 3,600 hours last year.
You see what I'm saying? 3,600 fucking hours.
There's only 2,040 hours, 80 hours in a work year. That's 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year.
I'll take your word on it.
2,000. Well, you're a teacher. You should know the
He's
math.
mathematician now.
I'm a
Give me a
mathematician.
whiteboard. Let me
He's a
explain it to a fourth grader. Yeah,
mathematician.
I'm a mathematician. Let's get it right.
So I love that. You're the best.
I got that from my boy Big John Boyle. I'm a mathematician.
I'm a that is funny. But the idea is, Danny, right? So when your season comes, which is now, this is your overtime season. Tell everybody how that works.
Snow. Once it snows, no garbage gets picked
Talking
up.
to this guy right here.
No
Let
garbage
everybody hear
gets
your
picked
voice.
up. All we do is snow 12 hours a day,
Yep.
7 days a week until it's all cleared up.
Yeah.
Then we go back and we pick up the garbage we left behind.
Yeah.
And you could be working
I've left a lot of
2,
garbage behind.
3 weeks straight.
I'm just saying.
I can imagine how much you left behind.
Garbage is garbage.
And we're there to pick it up.
But the idea is that when you talk to a lot of people that don't necessarily work in the trades or, in blue collar kind of work, I always hear them talking about waiting for like the next vacation or like, 5 o'clock bell rings and I'm out of here. When you talk to somebody like us and there's overtime on the table, we're like, yo, what day? I'll work how many days? Only 7 days in a week? We add one of those in there. If we work overtime 17 to we can make 8 days out of this. Isn't that crazy, right?
I had days last year I was getting paid for 30 hours.
You see what I'm saying?
There's
30
only-
hours in a day.
There's only 24,
Wait a minute.
right? There's only 24, right?
How is that possible? Shit. Well, you tell somebody that's in the trade, say, listen, we got a big job coming up. We got 10s. And if you know that business, you know what 10s means.
Yeah.
That means you working 10-hour days.
10 hours, 7 days a week.
7 days. You working 10 sevens. And it's crazy. But you tell a guy he's going on a job and his first 3 months or 5 months is 10 sevens, he's like, I'm in. You put a cot in the back of that construction site, he'll sleep on that motherfucker.
It gets hard on the families, though. It does.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
guy like me, I got a couple of kids, 12, 10,
yeah,
and a working wife. She's she's an RN, so she's got her career too.
yeah.
And then you're usually there to help, but now you're working so many goddamn hours. She's doing everything on her own.
Yeah.
You're lucky it don't lead to a divorce.
Yeah, well, a lot of times it does, and it has. We all know that, right? But Danny, when you work in snow days, you're at the
I'm in the garage.
in the garage the whole friggin'.
The
You
whole
don't go
time.
home.
No, I don't go home. I stay there. Sometimes I sleep in the garage. Sometimes I sleep in my car
In the
at the
car.
garage.
At the,
Yep.
lovely. Yeah.
But the money,
yes,
I can't go wrong.
you can't.
The
And
coverage, the medical coverage, I can't go wrong.
but really, the ideal, right? When we talk about stuff like this, is a lot of people that are in the trades and blue collar workers. We work for our pensions. We work for our retirements. That's what we do. We don't really think about. Me, I'm different. I got that crazy entrepreneur spirit. I try anything 100 times, but I'm still a tradesman. And when it comes down to it, I'll work. I'll work as long as I can keep my eyes open. I'll work. But the idea is that when you go and you talk to other people, they don't have that same mentality, right? It's almost like all right, it's 5 o'clock. I got to get out of here.
They're getting paid salary. They're not getting paid hourly.
Like we do.
Different.
Right. Tell us about that transition.
Well, like, I was just gonna point out, like, me, by the way, am I the youngest person to ever be on this podcast?
No.
You're definitely the youngest one at the stable, though.
At the table, yes.
I mean, yeah.
But no, I've had plenty of young crews here your age here already.
Really? 22?
Yeah.
Younger than 22?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah. Well, my son.
I was just going to say, how old's
My
Chris?
son and his friends have been on my podcast.
Oh, right.
And I had Ben and his buddies on, and they're young too, like your age. Yeah. But I like the young point of view, and that's why I always have young people. Us old fucks, we tend to get grooved on something, and we stay there.
Grouchy.
Yeah. And we stay there. So tell us, JB.
Yes, that was a pun. I'm glad you picked it up.
I was just pointing out, like, there's just some people that, like, me, I grew up, hard work is hard work.
Yep.
You get paid for what you do, and you do it as much as you can.
Right.
Like, just, what was it? A month ago, I came in, we worked our day.
Yep.
Was out by 3. I was in Staten Island moving snow from 5:30 p.m. to 5 o'clock in the morning.
And then came to work
Came
again.
home, took a little half-hour nap, back to work the next day.
Disco nap.
Yeah, disco nap, absolutely.
I love that.
What's that? You put gravy on it?
Yes, fries and gravy. You put the disco nap on that son of a bitch right there. What do you think, Danny?
Definitely.
You better start
Yeah.
talking more. We're gonna have to
I wanna-
switch fucking seats here.
Listen, I want to go back to something that Chris said before. When you first got on sanitation, I know what he's saying about, you're working a lot, you don't see your family.
Mm.
There's been times, if I'm working today 4 to 12, I could come back tomorrow morning 8 to 4 just to come back at midnight for the next day doing round robins, it's called.
Wow.
And takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
Takes a toll on you, your family. I mean, I've seen
Even the imaginary friend that you get when you work in that many days and hours. Even your imaginary friend is like, yo, you better slow the fuck down.
My imaginary friend never tells me that.
Yeah, this whole job, sanitation, is all seniority.
Right.
And it don't matter, it's that wherever you fall is where you go.
Right.
And that's it. But I
No
know,
two ways about it.
I understand everything he said about that.
And
family.
And do you think, Joe, this, because coming from somebody who's now young and starting to establish himself, as his career and what have you, do you think a lot of this has to do with what you've seen from your parents, right? Our parents, how hard they worked? Is that understanding that we have?
Oh, absolutely. It was probably my father. When I was growing up, my dad was a firefighter until 2002 after 9/11.
Right.
He was FDNY. But right after that, anything he could do, he did, Security here, work there, anything he could pick up, like little housework, anything.
Right.
that
And he
we could do.
painted. Your
Yeah,
father
yeah.
told me he had a painting business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he was a painting business. He actually grew up with a pizza business.
Oh, wow.
It's a whole different story.
Whole
though.
nother story.
Whole different story.
That's all right. We'll
But,
have you pop on here one day.
We don't talk about putting people in the ovens on the show.
No, I mean not that we know anything about that. We never did anything like that.
One more piece of milk. Go to the kid's house. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Never ever happened. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that, right? When you watch your parents or your father or your brothers or your uncles, and you're like, man, they work hard.
I definitely got it from my father.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
That man would get up. He had his own, they would call it emergency board up business back in the day before gates.
Right.
Or a building would burn down, and they would board it up. Either with remember we used to do the sheet metal over the windows.
Yes.
So he used to do that, and then he had you would plywood over the windows so people couldn't just walk in the store and take anything they wanted.
Right.
And it was his own business, and the phone call came in 3-4 o'clock in the morning. That man was up and gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes you didn't see him for days. And he was out working, breaking it every day.
Every day.
To put food on the table, take care of his family. And that is definitely where I learned, that's what you do in life to be a man.
And your brother too, right? Because we're all friends. And your brother too, Anthony.
My brother's a union
carpenter.
millwright.
Well, now he's millwright. Yeah.
He's a union millwright. My uncle, Ronnie, he was the president of that local when he retired. So that's a family thing.
Yep.
My great-grandfather was a union plumber.
Yep.
My father's father was a longshoreman.
Yep.
So I come from a long line of union labor.
Yep. Yep.
All hard workers.
I always push the union
and your
side.
mom.
I do.
And what's funny is that
I'm biased.
You are, but that's all right. It's okay to be that way. It's okay to be fucking proud union.
But I have to say this: my card doesn't carry me. I carry my card.
Right. 100%. But you know that by how much work you get. You don't have to explain that. If you ain't working, you ain't.
Most of the guys in my local carry their cards.
Yep. So Danny, on the other side too, your mom was in sanitation and still working.
37 years.
God bless.
37 years.
37 years with the legal department.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Well, trying to keep you out of trouble?
Most of the time.
Well, listen, I got all my learning from my mother.
Right.
That's 100%.
Nice.
And Mama Dukes.
I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to say nothing else about anybody else in my family. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. But the idea is that your pops and your family, but it's funny how we don't ever think about our moms when it comes to like physical labor and stuff like that. But I mean, not saying that Danny's mom wasn't out there pulling garbage cans off the street, but she worked in sanitation.
She had to pull him around.
Right. She had to pull him around.
And my brother.
Right. But the idea is...
God bless.
Yes.
Yes.
But the idea is that our families as a whole are all blue collar, right? Your mom, waitress. My mom, too, worked at a carting company for a while, worked at this spot for a while, worked at that spot for a while. So you got the idea of that hustle. But my pop was, holy shit, the hardest working man I have ever seen. I've never seen anything like it in my life. My father worked blue collar. First he worked in a printing corrugated factory, and then he got the job with New York City Housing Authority, and he was a groundskeeper. But that man worked 2 jobs.
And then he kicked George Foreman's ass.
And then he kicked George Foreman's ass. Exactly. So the idea is that my man, that work ethic was just incredible. He would work all day, come home, disco nap, I shit you not, 2 to 3 hours, and then go bounce at the club.
Because he was working nights.
At the clubs as a bouncer.
Absolutely.
And he never stopped.
Everybody knew.
Never, ever stopped.
Everybody knew.
So that work ethic for me is kind of like that drive, He was a fighter and he trained me for a while. But the idea of the work ethic in the family for that blue collar family is very different. Very, very different. There's nobody stops anybody from hustling. Right? Nobody.
Like I said, we hustled from young. Right?
Yeah.
We always did something to make some kind of money. We always, because when we were kids, we needed money to go to Roller Palace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and buy a little nickel bags.
Newspaper route I had.
I don't know what you're talking
and
about.
buy a little nickel bags.
Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't.
Yeah. Don't listen to me. I only know them better than I know myself.
I don't know what he's talking about.
JB, what do you think he's telling us?
What was your first job, Shannon?
Let's see. My first job, I'm trying to think. Like, what the hell would I...
What we did be considered a job? I mean, what we
I don't
did...
know.
We hustled for money. I mean,
I hustled.
Like I said, we bagged groceries at Wall
Yes.
Palms.
Well, it's
Well,
still
I
a
mean,
job.
like,
It's not hustling. Really.
my-
It's still a job.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. We weren't on the books for wall
Right.
bumps, right? You would
Back
go to
then,
wall
we
bumps.
could work off the books. It was
Yeah.
not a
We
problem.
could. You'd
feel
go
like
to
back
wall
then there weren't
bumps.
books.
You'd help.
No.
You'd help the old.
When you were
lady.
There
kids,
was no such thing as
Yeah.
on
Unless
the
you were a
books when we
lawyer
were
or
younger.
someone like working for the city.
You'd,
Yeah.
help, you'd help the old lady bag the groceries when
Yep.
she was buying them. You'd wheel them to her car and you put them in.
Yep.
And if you were lucky, she'd give you 25, 50 cents.
Yeah.
All right. So what was the first?
Well, I
job
mean, like
you-
real job,
you had?
like real job where you were like working somewhere. I'm like, shit, I
Doing
don't even,
dishes.
huh?
Doing dishes.
Doing dishes?
Yeah.
Which one? In the
was-
neighborhood, but which one?
No, it was when we moved to Staten Island.
Oh,
When we moved to Staten Island, there was a restaurant around the corner. It was called the Sleepy Hollow Inn.
Mhm.
I was 12 years old, doing dishes, and but the money I made there, I bought a paper route. So
No
I had-
way.
Yeah, I was working 2 jobs at 12 years old.
at 12 years old.
I think I had one of the
Gotta
best
hustle.
paper routes in Sheepshead Bay. It was 23rd Street and 24th Street. That was it.
You had 2 blocks.
That's all
2
you
blocks.
needed.
2 blocks with over 100 customers.
No way.
Believe it, yes.
But what
Over 100.
avenues?
And
How old?
between Y and Z.
How
That's
old
it,
were you?
Just us.
Just that's it.
How
Just 2
old?
blocks.
How old were you?
Oh my God. 15,
15.
14.
That's in 1940. What
And
was
there
it?
was
That's fucked up.
Where'd I go?
JB, you had a
Where-
paper out? No.
Nah.
He's like, does it come on the iPhone?
But what's funny is that we talk about stuff like that, Joe, but that's non-existent now.
Well-
Your generation doesn't even understand that.
No, I was gonna say if I could, I would have had a paper route. But truly, there was some older lady, and I lived in an apartment building my growing up my entire life. But there was a lady who had already established herself in the entire building. She had
She
figured
had
out
the
the
paper
codes
route,
from
yeah.
you guys. Like she was like you know she had it locked down already.
Oh, so she
So,
was
I
doing
mean,
nus and
She
everything.
beat me to it.
Gotcha.
I was.
Because you would have probably tried. Yeah.
She
We
pulled the
would've-
trigger
we-
first. You
Yeah.
know,
We would have
or-
kneecapped her.
Yeah.
Hey, she was a nice lady. She's a little crazy now, but she was a nice lady.
My first full-time job. You're the paper route. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I had odd jobs or growing up until, I don't know. I never really had. I don't remember a first job. I remember working places. I remember working in a sporting goods store. I remember my first food experience, of course, was Pia's Pizza.
Right.
That is my first, like, where I'm like, now I have that's a job. And I had to, you have to be there every day and you have to learn how to do shit. And that was that. So I would say probably like Pia's Pizza. It's like the first place where I'm like, okay, that's a job where I could think there may even be a career involved. And I mean, eventually I did. I became a chef. But that was probably my first like job where I remember having a job.
Oh, wait, you're a chef?
Nope.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
play one on TV.
Let's see. I went from what? Doing I had a paper route, and then I worked for
That's
Randazzo.
funny. I don't care who you tell.
I worked in Randazzo's Seaman Turf.
Randazzo?
There
No.
was 4 Randazzos.
Yes,
growing
back
up.
then. Yes.
I worked in the Sea and Turf,
Oh, okay.
which is now where the clam bar.
Where the clam bar is.
Right. I
Because
did
the
that.
other one was just the clam bar.
There was the clam bar. There was the Italian restaurant. There was Sea and Turf and the fish market.
Yep. Yes.
Then I worked off the fishing boats.
What boat?
America.
America? You
Who had them?
You should have worked for the Tampa.
Oh, but that was the back of your family.
That was my family.
I thought you were
so-
calling him out.
Oh.
Well, you have to remember, back then, how old were you?
I probably
weren't
wasn't
even
born.
born.
I probably wasn't born, you old son of a bitch. You.
That's fucked up. So, JB, so let's say, like, in your neighborhood, there's always that one spot where everybody works. Where would that be? Because you're from Rockaway. There's a bunch of bars out there. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I guess because truly it's what bar you go to.
right.
Because it's a bar.
Yeah.
Like if you work somewhere, it's a bar.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
that's just the town. But one spot particularly, no, I couldn't tell you that one.
So everybody out there, JB lives in Rockaway.
Yep.
It's
If you want his address, we can put that up.
We'll put it down in the description. But he lives in an area, and it's right by the water. But there's like a couple of main streets where he's at. There's a lot of bars and a lot of restaurants. Right? It's like bars and restaurants. Oh, we have a great guest here. I just want to say that right now. The great guests. here, and it's just amazing, and we're gonna have a blast. Anyway, he'll be stepping in a minute, but the idea where JB lives, and that's why I always ask those questions, right? Like, what bar did you work in? Because that's kind of like a rite of passage where you're from. And it's, you want to talk about blue collar town? Rockaway is like a great blue collar town. Incredible. It's, you know, we always think of like Brooklyn's cousin because it's so close to each other, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of union iron workers that live in his neighborhood.
It's its own species. It's cops, firefighters,
all blue collar,
or union workers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all you got.
It's a blue collar town.
And
that's exactly what it is.
And it's great in the summer.
Yeah. Oh no,
That's
great in the summer, right? The beaches.
Manhattan Beach.
Reese Park's got the best
Jameson's
waves.
Pub,
Yes.
baby, 129.
Reese Park's got the best
know
Shout
why
out Big
you go to
Rich.
Reese-
Yeah, shout out to my brother and shit.
We know why he goes to Reese Park.
They got the
Whoa.
they still got the
What?
nudie beach there.
Yeah,
What?
that's why he goes to Reese Park.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They still got the nudie beach there.
Why would
I
you
love
bring it
that.
up? Why
I
would you
love
bring
that.
it up? I
Don't
didn't bring
break
it
a
up.
window with this guy.
No,
Just saying.
no rob a bank with him either. He ain't driving my fucking getaway
Like,
car.
I'll be hiding under the car, and Dan will be like, "Come on out from under the car, Chris. They got us."
They got us. I'm like, shit, man, I would have got away with that, you son bitch right there. He just,
Yo, I'm gonna take that damn fucking shit, that lamb, whatever it is. I'm gonna stick it where the sun don't shine.
you funny fuck you. That's all about the goats and hoes, folks.
You guys are killing me.
Oh, I can't. So, you know, I always think about this idea of the idea of learning a trade to me has always been the bonus part of being a blue collar worker of some kind, because, you know, Joe, worst comes to worst case scenario, push comes to shove. You're like, yo, I could pick up a hammer. I know how to read a ruler. I can go earn a living. I think that's one of the highlights, and to me, one of the most impressive things about being a tradesman or working in the trades or being a blue collar worker is that there's so many of those jobs that when you think about it, you can go out, and that's what allowed me the luxury of, you know, trying different things and becoming, you know, a chef and then going on TV and all that stuff, is because I always knew deep down in my heart, my soul, that I could make a living if it didn't work out. I'm a carpenter. You can't ever take that from me, right?
100%.
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate like what the opportunity I got through working with the company we work for. But like I thought, you know, going into when I was told I was working construction, I was like, okay, great. I work with my dad here and there, you know, hammer here, hammer there, and first day I walk in, you know, me, I'm fucking 18. No, I wasn't 18. I was 21. I was 21 years old, and I think I know fucking everything. And first thing I do is, I think it was Kendi, actually. Kendi was, goes, hey, can you pass me like that track right there? I go, all right, and I pick up a stud. And I go to hand, and he goes, what the hell is this?
In his Jamaican accent.
I go,
yo, man,
go,
that's no truck.
I go, this looks like,
Yeah.
it's what you asked for. It's a track, right? He
Yeah.
goes, no, man. He's like, studs got holes. Trucks no holes. I was like, ah, son of a bitch. You know?
First lesson.
It is.
And that was it.
And
That
you
was from
remember
day
it.
on, 100%.
But what's funny is that in the trades, right, and even what you do, in the beginning, you'll get the first nice one, right? Oh, let me show you. What happens if you do it wrong the second time?
Well, yeah, that's just it, right? I tell that to everybody. Every kid that comes out, every apprentice that I got working for me, I don't care if you make a mistake. Great. You're going to only learn by making mistakes.
Right.
Just don't do it twice.
Right.
Don't do it twice. If you do it twice, now it's not a mistake. Now you're just stupid.
Yeah. Or you're making it to be stupid. One or the other. I just think that's fantastic. You know, I really love the idea that, you know, it still holds true still till today, is that when you bring young bucks and apprentices and young people in the blue collar and the trades and all this other shit, there's still young bucks that want to learn this. There's still young people that want to get into this type of work, even though they know it's hard, even though it's not, you know, it ain't a fucking glory job. It's hard. It's literally hard work.
Especially it's fucking 98 degrees in the middle of Brooklyn.
Yep.
Middle of August.
Yep.
Can I speak on one thing about that?
You can speak on anything you want.
You're the
like you
co-host.
said, you know, new people come on, you want to try and teach them, you know,
Right.
Okay.
I'll learn you.
I just got on the job working in Manhattan Beach in the pouring rain. Nobody ever told me about waterproof boots, rubber gloves, rain gear. So you know what it was like my first day when I finished the route?
How many kids you got?
I
Nobody told
was
you about rain gear.
Nobody. But you know what's funny? That right there is the best lesson you're ever gonna learn.
Tell me about it.
Because you won't ever do that again.
Right after that, where
Right
do you
to the
think it
store?
went?
Yeah.
Waterproof boots, rain gear, rubber gloves.
You even saran wrap your ass, I heard. He's like,
Well, that was a different reason, though.
yo, we do some crazy shit on construction sites. I fucking kid you not. We do the craziest things. All right, so you know what's funny? Somebody was
confessing here.
Yeah, well, not confessing, but just showing some
give us a-
realness of the sites.
You give me one story, I'll give you one.
Well, I mean, first of all, there's always some kind of drinking or drug problem on the construction sites, and you never know who's showing up in a
How many guys you got
right
today?
with a tool belt and nothing else on.
Okay.
Drugs are a funny thing.
I'm gonna say
that's
that
all
was
I gotta
you.
say. No, definitely not. I always leave the tool belt on. But I always describe this to people. I'm like, so you think you know what hell is, right? And I go, August, about 15th of August, it's 107 degrees on a construction site. You want to know what hell smells like? A porta potty. A porta potty in the middle of August when it's 100 and some odd degrees out. Even the flies don't go in that fucking thing.
Can we stop now? I don't want to lose my dinner.
You know what I tell everybody the definition of I'm fucked is? When you lean over in the porta john and the toilet seat is up and your cell phone is in the top pocket here and you lean over and it makes that slow descent down into the blue water with the brown stuff floating.
I guess you'll never make that mistake again.
Man, I truly, in my opinion, if you drop your phone in a porta potty,
Yeah.
you're an asshole.
It's no wait.
You're an asshole,
Wait.
absolutely.
Wait.
You gotta be.
Wait a
come
minute.
on.
Accidents happen.
Wait a minute.
You,
Look,
you should be on high alert when
wait a
you're
minute.
in there,
There's
in
a
the
thing,
war
like,
zone.
when
of
you
a
put
porta
it,
potty.
like I always tend to put it, like I'm on the phone and I put it real quick. I have the pocket on the top of the sweatshirt and I put it there. And then you go in the porta potty. The first thing I do is go to throw down the seat, but I have to lean in a little to hit the top of the seat. And that's when the phone proceeded to make its delivery.
That's what your feet are for.
Yeah, into the blue abyss.
I never touched the seat with my hands.
And then I'm like, oh,
Or
no.
or a roll of paper.
And then that's it. Wait, and then that's it. And it is never to be seen again. That's the definition of I'm fucked.
You got to catch that porta guy. Hey, when you get to the bottom, see if there's a phone down there for me.
I tell everybody, you think you got a strong fucking stomach? It's August. I don't care. You could be walking to that porta potty, your ass cheeks clenched as hard as you can, and you're like, I ain't going in there. I will shit my pants today.
You think we got it bad, but think about the guy that's got to clean all those things.
No, I feel bad. I feel
He's
horrible.
got a shitty job.
I feel horrible. In the morning, I'm like, I see the guy come with the tank. I'm like,
Happy 7 a.m. God bless your soul.
and how happy you think he is? He's probably making like $15 an hour.
I love him.
Oh,
I love him. I'd give him a hug, but I can't get that close.
Bastard.
I can't get that close. I'm like, shit, I'm telling you, buddy,
You're like-
whatever it is you're making,
you're like-
double that shit.
You're like yelling at him. Don't forget that hand sanitizer too, all right?
It's like when you see the porta potty guy come on the job, you walk over to him, you hand him $2 cash right away. He hands you a roll of paper under the table like this. I'm like, we good? He's like, yeah, see you next week. That's my
I
fix.
tell your buddies.
Yeah.
They need the toilet paper fix. I'm the guy.
I'm the guy. It's like, tell all
I'll tell
the
you what, it
friends.
kind of sucks when you get in there, you drop your drawers, you get down, and then you realize there's no paper.
Yeah,
You
no.
gotta check. You gotta
Is that
check.
the worst?
Oh my God,
That's the worst.
You gotta check.
You can't.
That's when
Always
you commando the rest of the day.
Yeah. You got to use the drawers.
You can't use the socks.
No, can't use. That comes from experience.
You have a T-shirt too.
I love that. No, I used to do that in the summertime.
The sleeves.
Yeah.
Cut the sleeves
Yes,
off.
cut the sleeves off, or you cut the bottom of your undershirt.
Yeah, but then I'm muffin topping. I'm not doing that.
Man.
And nobody wants to see that with a hard hat on.
That's not a pretty sight. If I cut my shirt short, then everybody's looking at my ass. I wear extra long shirts so people don't have to.
They're like, yo, check that out.
You're not a plumber, Rosati.
You're a plumber. I absolutely love it.
Boy, I could tell you a story.
What?
What do we got, JB? So listen, I think, Jay, you're going to...
Oh, yeah.
Jay's Van Moosen.
You're breaking
Yeah.
out, kid.
But listen to me.
I got to teach the youth.
Yeah. So I want to say
You have
this
to
to everybody
teach the
out there.
youth.
I call him JB. His name is Joe Brown. Joe Brown is great. I met Joe Brown last summer. He came to work on my site. And great kid. Right away, the thing I got from Joe is he doesn't have the greatest diet pattern at all. So
This is how you're going to sign me
yes,
off?
this is how I'm going to sign Joe off. So in honor of the Oscars tonight,
Meanwhile, look
I'm
how
giving
fat
out
I am.
Oscars to my guests tonight. So the Oscar and the Oscar goes to Joe Brown for the most times a porta potty has been visited in one shift at work. So congratulations, Mr. Joe Brown.
5 to 6 times.
We all
That's the
know.
final. It
We all know.
Depends on that last one if you count it.
We all know that the Brown goes down. The only problem is it comes out of you quite often, and the Oscar goes to Mr. Joe Brown.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure being here. Nah, seriously though, Shannon, thank you. Appreciate it.
It was
dinner
good to meet you,
fucking
kid.
Fantastic.
Good luck
Chris.
in your career.
I'll come say goodbye. Oh.
My man, JB.
Right.
Oh, we gotta take the Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to meet you, man.
Have a good one. Oh.
Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. We are not off the air yet.
We have the lovely lady walk you off screen, but we don't have one. So it's a pleasure meeting you, Joe. JB, I'll see you soon. JB, go upstairs in my backpack. In one of the back pockets, there's a little pocket with a zipper. Is your
Party
envelope.
favor. How you doing?
So, how's everybody doing out there? It's going down today on Everything and Nothing podcast. We're having a changing of the guards here. This is like my favorite thing when there's many guests.
Chris Rosati, good to meet you.
It is great. It is great. And without any more delay, and we're not saying hey because he's like a horse. We're saying hey because he is the boss. Doesn't he have a slight resemblance here, if you notice? Little Tony Danza going on there. But he's a good friend of mine. Yes. See, I'm smart.
Not
But-
dumb like people say.
Good, yeah. Oh my God! And if we all knew what they said, we wouldn't like them much. But he's a dear friend of mine. We have a great story of how we met and why we met, and we have been dear friends ever since. But he is a spark, and not just to the light of the life. He's the spark because he has something that we all want so bad, and that's electrified personality. My man, Mark. He is
Mark the
the
Spark?
electrical electrician, but he's also a builder. And here's another thing for you out there, folks. We both come from the same background. He had a television show for many years in the same network. We were on Scripps Network together. He had many shows on HGTV, and he had his own show on DIY for many years called Kitchen Crashes. So without me saying another word, my man, Mach Bartolomeo.
Good Sunday evening, gentlemen.
That's what's up. Talking to the
Same
mic.
to
You
you.
know how this works.
Good Sunday evening, everyone. Hello, Chris, Shannon. Pleasure to see you.
Always.
And
Love
this
you, my brother.
Young veteran here.
Danny.
Hello, Danny. I'm Mark.
How you
Danny
doing?
Gags.
How you doing?
Hi, Danny Gags.
We're all Brooklyn boys, and we're all Brooklyn boys. So he grew
Where
up
you from?
on the other side, Bay Ridge.
I lived right near the Avenue I Flea Market.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Oh, there you
20th
go.
and McDonald.
Nice.
But I grew up in Coney Island. My father's
Yeah.
places of business, automotive. I went
All
to
in
Grady
Coney.
High School. So I am a Coney Island native.
That's what's up. Same as me, Coney Island.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Bing, bang, boom,
You
bang.
weren't far from
Yep,
here,
Sheepshead Bay.
The Bay.
But yeah, so everybody knows out there, Mark Mark is the epitome of a craftsman. Carpenter, electrician, union electrician, the whole 9 yards. Had the television.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, indeed it is.
Iron worker, level 361.
Hello, brother.
All my peeps here. So, Mark had a show on DIY called Kitchen Crashes. And if everybody knows, my eyes and mind were always glued on television shows based on people with skills, chefs.
Especially what you're interested in.
Yeah, and trades.
Sure.
So I watched these shows religiously. And when Mark got his show, Kitchen Crashes, I didn't even know Mark. From the same area, but I didn't know him personally. So I watched the show.
But you knew that you knew me
without even knowing
one
I knew
another.
him. So it was funny because, I bounce, and we always hustle him, right? We were talking about the Brooklyn hustle before. Brooklynites always have more than one job. So he DJ'd and did what he did. So he was a DJ. So one day I'm working at a club, he's in there, his friend's DJing, blah, 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 and I'm like, that's fucking Mark from the TV show. And I literally walk right up to him like, "You're Mark from the TV show." And
Can
he's
I
like,
get your autograph?
He's like,
that moment.
he's like, "Yes, I am."
That's great.
And I think at first he's kind of like, "This big motherfucker, what the fuck does he want? What the?" And there I am smiling like, "Hey, you're a guy on TV from Brooklyn." And he's like, "Yes, I am. Just don't do anything crazy to me." And I'm like,
Hang my
"No."
coat up first and we'll talk.
Don't squeeze me.
So it was funny because, what's funny? How I got a little awestruck when I saw him. I never realized what it felt like until it happened to me when I had my TV show.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Oh.
People are talking to you because they know you.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
They
You're the best friend.
100%. Or they think they do.
Rattling off stuff. The
Yeah.
moments like, okay, you've seen me quite a bit, man. Sir.
Yes.
And it's a
I get
big
that.
moment for someone when they
I would-
you already know you made an impact on someone.
I would imagine it's got to be a little like you're taken aback at first.
Yeah,
but
a little
you also
bit.
have to be grateful because
Yes.
otherwise you don't have a show.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. The people that watch are the ones that make you relevant. That's why you do what you do.
Indeed.
But we were talking about this before, and what you were just saying about how your family has always had this idea. The blue collar work has always been what's been there for us, right?
Always.
Is it more? And what I'm trying to get at too is that we were talking about this before, like the generation thing. Mm-hmm. Is it more of a comfort zone type thing for us than it is more, like a work oriented thing? Like, oh, it's a job, it's a work. Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with us being comfortable in that world.
It's both. If I had to put it on a scale or on a percentage-wise, I would say it's about 65% comfort level.
Yeah.
And the other 35 is, work, earn, take care of the family, yourself.
Yeah.
Stay busy.
I'm going to say I think it also comes from our backgrounds.
Right.
Like, so my name ends in a vowel.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the
Like,
idea.
our families came over here, and that's what we did. We built things.
built.
We worked.
Yes, well, that was the idea of why we came. We literally, Italians came here to build the roads.
Like I said,
That's what they did.
My great grandfather came over. He was a union plumber.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a union longshoreman. So that's what we did. We worked with our hands. We built stuff. We lugged stuff.
Yeah,
we picked things up. We put them down.
But that's literally for everybody. Like, I mean, we back in the turn of the century when the war was kind of over in the 40s when they had the rush here. Mm-hmm. The same thing with the Chinese. They came here. They built the railroads. Yeah. So it's kind of the subway system. When you think about it, it's the idea of the tenacity of the people. Regardless of whether Italian, Irish, I'm Irish too, the same idea. The idea is the tenacity of the people. They come here because there's a way to earn a living. And the way our forefathers earned the living was they were tradesmen. They worked with their hands,
Yep.
And that's
my grandfather met my grandmother in a tailor shop. He was a tailor
there
for
you go.
45 years of his life.
That's beautiful. My great grandfather was a tailor too.
See?
The whole
Craftsman.
family was down in the warehouse, in the shops, sewing for the Navy. My distant cousins, used to make the uniforms for the Navy, for the U.S. Army,
great.
for the U.S. Government.
Yeah.
My grandfather and all of his cousins, relatives, neighbors, friends, everyone worked there. It was a big family affair, and that's how people met everyone.
Yeah. And I think that, like I said, the the camaraderie behind a craftsman or a blue collar worker, and when even we don't think about that, and that truly is being a tailor. I mean, I have a little bit of background in that too, but the idea of being a seamstress or being a tailor back then, when they had all the factories, and we were talking about Phil and them guys before, I think it was their uncle or grandfather, great grandfather or something, had the factory in Pennsylvania. That's how they started, where they made the pea coats for the war. They were making the long trench coats and the pea coats for the guys in the war. And I think a lot of back in that time, a lot of blue collar work was based on these guys coming home from war and having to work in the trades but learning all that stuff while they were in the military. I think the idea of the tight knit of the community, that's where it stems from. Where like you're coming back, you have to earn.
We still have that. There's a program called Helmets to Hard Hats.
Okay.
So where they
I've heard of it. Yeah, sure.
Where they come out of the Army, and because you were out of the Army, they get you into a trade.
Which is good.
That's absolutely.
Fantastic.
They put their lives on the line to protect us. They deserve an opportunity.
Well, you have the discipline, you have the respect, and the let's say the notion of what it is to be respectful and do your shit, what's necessary. Don't become a waste or drain on society and learn to play more video games.
Absolutely.
You mean playing Warcraft is not the same as being in war? Not the same thing?
That's an issue if you want to talk about any issues like job site issues. All these phones on job sites.
Oh.
It's like, get off your goddamn phone and get to work.
Hey, listen.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, but also we say it's a thing, but it's only a thing because it's happening now. When we were working construction, it was something different. We got distracted by something different. So it's always something.
I'm drunk, I'm late, I'm
right. No, come on.
sick.
Come on.
So, I know you that long.
Listen to me. It's funny when we think about it now and we see a young guy like Joe Brown just left here, I mean, he's never done it, but I've had young guys that come on the job and, no call, no show.
Yeah.
And then you see him 2 days later. And
I fire guys like that.
I don't, but I don't. Let me tell you why.
Go on.
I've been there. You've been there. You've been there. Don't fucking lie.
Not
well,
not in the union.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe since you in the union, not so much.
Never.
But that's because you were older. And don't fucking bullshit
No, when I
me.
was a kid, I went through jobs like they were kids.
Yes. So I don't need to say another
When
word.
I was a kid.
So again, when you get a young buck on the, listen to me, you fucking bastard. When you get a young buck on the job.
Yeah, no. When you make a living the way we make a living.
Yeah. You rely. I get it.
You're taking that money from somebody else that would have showed up. You're taking that money from the funds. You're not just there for you.
I get that.
Right? So when a kid doesn't show up, he's got to learn his lesson. And the only way to teach him is to sting him.
And make it hurt.
I get that.
Feel it in the pocket.
Listen to me. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do. What I'm saying is that the idea of the way things are now are not the same. So when you have something like that happen, the idea is that, I mean, come on. I showed up on job sites late, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Go the fuck home." I'm like, "Shit, man." I was feeling good up until the time I just got here, and now I'm not feeling good no more. But we've done it, so that's my thing. I think I have a little more empathy on that side of things.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mind it.
I do. I don't. If you showed up, if you gave me a little bit of effort,
right?
But no show, no call.
No call, no show. That's not
that's
an excuse.
unexcusable.
Yeah, that's unexcusable.
I've had guys come with their boots on their wrong feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. We are in construction, right?
Yes.
I mean,
how many times you put your friggin' jumpsuit on backwards?
He does that all the time.
You can't.
I can't put mine on backwards.
He does that all the time, but that's a different story.
So, Mark, tell everybody where you're working now.
I'm an electrician for the city.
Yep.
At Coney Island Hospital.
That's what's up. I worked there too a long time ago, but I wasn't in that.
Talk
capacity.
about full circle,
You're working
because
with my boys.
in the mid-'80s, I was at high school right across the street.
Yeah.
Learning my trade.
Yep.
And here I am 30 years later. Well, I've been there 5 years, so 25 years later,
Yep.
I'm back to where it all began.
Yeah.
Nice.
Craziness, right?
From the east side of the belt to the west side, or from the south to the north side.
Yeah.
How's that structure going up?
It's wonderful.
Nice.
They're moving on it.
That's all my
It is.
boys.
it's $1 billion project. It's a lot of money.
Those are my
behind there.
boys.
It's moving.
Those are my boys erecting that building.
And where's that going up?
It's on the north side of the property. It used to be the parking lot for the hospital.
Oh, okay.
They're filling in the rest
Wait,
of the
close
block.
to Ocean Parkway or the one on Z?
It's on Z and
So on
6th Street.
Z.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
They took down a small building of which I reclaimed the 100-year-old granite and put it in my basement.
You did?
For you.
My kitchen countertops.
great.
Yeah, I got special permission.
Isn't
Nice.
isn't that one of the greatest
great.
things? Also, what you
Absolutely.
do too, right? So look, Danny
garbage picker?
is he's garbage.
Total.
No. But yes, we all are.
He's a,
Not a
No, but he's
He's a garbage
sanitation.
garbage man. He's
Yeah.
a garbage man.
But the great thing.
I got that from the jumpsuit. As he gets in the jumpsuit, he's
But the-
driving the
I,
truck.
Oscar.
I work
Wait.
in the garage.
The
So
Oscar
look,
goes
Mark,
to-
Right
Mark,
there, that locker.
Mark. So that locker right there was a Danny Gag fine. So I said to him, I'm looking for an old gym locker to put in my studio.
And it has your insignia on it.
Well,
Bacon.
I
Oh,
did
you put
that.
that
I
on?
redid the whole. So he gave it to me. It was banged up. It was rusted, banged up, and everything. So I
Great.
sanded it all down and I resprayed the thing red. And
Are you sure it's black?
no, red now because my eyes need to adjust. But Danny Gags, the garbage specialist. He's a specialist.
Specialist.
That's how I figure it.
You got to be able
He's
to
a
find the
specialist.
junk. I mean, the diamonds in the junk.
in the junk.
There's tons of junk
And it was funny because
I could tell you stories.
I made one
picking
phone
up
call.
garbage.
of what people throw away.
Oh yeah. Hey, when I worked in
Gold.
Manhattan as a sand
Gold,
worker,
I tell you, Jerry.
they leave it on the sidewalk with notes. It's not broken. Take it.
Yeah.
Use it. Microwaves.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with it. Take it.
How long does that last? Honestly,
do you mean?
my friend was moving his son to Manhattan. I had a kitchen.
Pick the
table.
mic up.
I had a kitchen table, and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting a new table. I don't like this one anymore. There's nothing wrong with it. Give it to your son for his apartment.
Right.
These guys, they took it off the truck. They put it down. They went. They brought something upstairs. They come back down. The table's gone. I swear to God.
Where?
In Manhattan. I don't know
Oh,
what
well.
rock.
Well, hey, listen.
How long does this stuff last with a note on it? Like
A lot can happen in a
2
New York
minutes?
minute.
Don't let the
A lot can happen.
don't let the grass grow under that sumbitch right there.
You want to talk about serious now. You talk about guy who picks garbage and
Talking
everything. Guy who
I already know what you sound like.
about a guy who in Manhattan 11, he used to 20-something years on the job, pick up stuff from the streets. He made a museum.
Oh.
In Manhattan 11 on 99th and 1st.
All his fines.
All of his fine. If I tell you how big this area, he saved everything.
A collage, a humongous
I made a
collage.
big museum. You could walk through the whole thing. If you ever want to go, you tell me. We'll
I want to go.
Ride
Not only do I want to go, I want him to be on my fucking podcast because anybody who's that crazy, I want to know.
And it's
What do you
still
think,
up
Mark?
there. Nobody's ever touched it. It's still up there. People go there, walk around.
I'm a recycle, reuse kind
He
of guy,
sounds interesting. This guy.
right?
He-
That's my
real old records and rollers.
that's my
Remember
thing. My thing is repurpose,
Taking old
reuse.
things and repurposing them.
Yes, well, that's what.
Like, look at Danny.
I'm repurposed.
Poor Danny, the goat has spoken. It will go no
That's
further.
it.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I can't tell you
I'm
that.
telling you, it really sucked being the youngest one in the crowd back in the day.
Back in the day, but now-
it's the best thing in the world.
And wait a minute. And we got to give out another Oscar. Hold on. You ready?
Yeah. What up? What up out
And-
there
and
in
wait,
YouTube
here we go.
land?
And the Oscar for the best costume worn as a jumpsuit on the job goes to Mr. Danny Gagliotti for wearing the jumper the best.
I want to thank the people. Thank you very
That
much.
made this
I want to thank Shannon Ambrosio from Everything and Nothing podcast, and my buddy here, the young one, Christopher Rosati here, his mother flower.
Mother flower.
And the Oscar goes to.
Hey,
Let me tell you something. When I showed up at Danny's job that one time, when I went to get the locker, and he came out and he had the whole
had the
whole
jumpsuit
jumpsuit on, and I thought for sure I was back on Mayberry and Gomer Pyle was coming out of the fucking garage.
That's great.
It's like, well, golly. Shazam, Shazam, Shazam.
This is what I gotta put up with.
This is what I came here for. You prick, you.
37 years.
He knows me since I'm as tall as that statue. Oh, I can't. It's too funny.
Well, you were definitely as skinny as that statue.
Oh, yeah, this is true. Well, not much anymore.
Man, sometimes
But
I see
that's
those
all right.
old pictures of you when you were a kid. I'm like, oh
I'm
my
still a kid.
You're not a kid, you old mother. Once you hit 50, that's it.
That's it. I'm done.
That's it,
I
you're
can't be
done.
referred to
I'm
as a
still
kid.
a kid then.
You definitely
kid.
are. What do you think, Mark? So, Mark, you're a union electrician,
Yes.
but when you had the show, you did everything. So,
Yeah,
where does that
everything.
come from? Where does the idea of like being an electrician, and we all do it because Chris does it too. Chris does carpentry work, does plumbing work, does everything.
Yeah.
Same thing with Danny. Danny handles the stuff around the house. I know that stuff.
I know just enough to be dangerous.
Right. But the idea is that why that knowledge? Why that need to know, to learn?
Just a thriving drive and admiration and an affinity for it.
Yeah.
Since I was basically riding a big wheel on my bicycle, I'm really not into sports. People talk to me about it. I can sit and watch it. I enjoy being, but I don't know a stat from shit. It doesn't make a difference to me.
I'm in the same boat with you.
Really, I've always been driven by construction and building stuff.
Creation.
Period. I used to drive or ride my bike to job sites and watch them erect houses or put up steel work. I just used to watch and figure it out. Why is that happening? Why is that piece coupling that piece?
Right.
How does this tensile strength? All these things
Yeah.
rolling in my head. And in my old garage, I just had a workshop set up. My father had a jigsaw. There was no sawzalls at the time
Nope.
in the early 80s.
Yeah.
A jigsaw we had, a circular saw, a couple of hand saws, and all the power tools. I mean, just hand tools. And
Yeah.
I used to build speaker cabinets.
Oh, right, because you did the DJ thing for a
Yeah.
while.
I used to put big boom boxes in the back of people's trunks,
trunks.
cutting out the deck under the window, mounting
Yeah.
410s.
Even putting the felt on.
I was 13 and 14, and people were hiring me, coming by my house to do jobs to
Right.
mount their stuff up.
Speakers.
Yeah,
and
well, that was back in the days
That's
of
great.
boom,
Boom.
boom boxes.
boom.
Yeah.
You remember Anthony's 88?
Yes, I do.
I
Yep.
always,
That thing was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
always wanted to build.
And I think that's what drives tradesmen too. Like, as much as we think of it as just a job sometimes, the idea of learning and the knowledge that you get when you're on the job, learning by somebody else, to me is what drives me the most, right? You know so much, and then you'll meet somebody on the job. It's like, hey,
Tips are great.
yeah, let me show you
Tips are
this.
great.
You should want to help people out, or tell your coworker or someone who's asking a question
All the time.
Oh, yeah,
all the time.
All the time.
always.
I
Always learn
I don't.
something
You're
every
right.
day.
That's it. I don't care how
You have
long
to.
I've been doing what I'm doing. If you tell me that if I do it this way, it's going to be faster and easier,
I'll try.
I want to learn that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
100%.
yes.
Imparting knowledge from a master, imparting knowledge, a master, or if you're anywhere near that level, you're supposed to teach the apprentices and the people who are coming up
have
behind
to.
you.
Absolutely.
You have
That's
to,
it. Experience is the best teacher.
as long as they come on time. According to Chris, as long as they come on
As long as they
time.
come. If they show up, I got something to work with. If you don't show up, you got nothing to work with.
I think that's such a fantastic thing.
But like you were saying with Mark, I love, like, I could be watching an electrician and just be like, well, why did you do it that way?
Yeah,
Right? And like, I need to know why you did it that way. When most people will just be like, all right, he did it that way. You
Right.
know? I want to know why. Even like a plumber. Okay, how much pitch and why?
Right. Why that method?
Exactly. I need to know why so that it makes sense to me. And like you were saying, you're not a sports guy. I'm a big sports guy. I love sports. The season tickets to the Giants. And I mean, I live on every sport 24/7. This guy that they got as a coach talks about he's got to be able to teach. And so that's a universal in
Yeah.
any profession. You
Yeah.
got to be able to teach.
Yep.
right.
And what he said, which really strikes with me, is I don't have to teach you the way I teach. I have to teach you the way you learn.
Right. No, that's a big part.
Right?
Well,
So,
also, that comes from what you did too when you had the television show too, because the idea is that you're showing the viewer out there
Right.
what can be done, and the proper way to do things, safe way to do things, and everything in between. And a lot of times you don't necessarily get that type of hands-on. So when you meet somebody like you that has the opportunity, or somebody like you that's in a capacity, a supervisor, it's your not, I wouldn't say your job, but it's you have to be willing to pass that knowledge on graciously enough that somebody learns it.
That's right.
Not just the fact of showing them,
Obligation.
do it this way because it gets done that way. No, do it that way because this is why.
Yeah, we have a great saying in my business. We do it that way because it's been done that way 100 years.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Right.
You're a genius.
Genius. But tell me why, right? Isn't that the way to do it? Tell me why.
He's laughing because that's recognition, because that's what they told him to.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you hear.
But see, we're obligated.
Right.
Especially, I'm going to say Mark's probably like I am, like you are. You like to teach somebody
Yeah.
if
I
they
enjoy
want.
it.
If they want
If they want to learn.
If they want to learn.
That's the whole thing. If they want to learn.
If somebody asks me a question about what I do, that's
Get
it.
ready for the
That's
answer.
it. That's it. I hope you got time here.
Right.
Because I'm going to show you, and at the end of the day, you're going to be paying my pension. You're going to teach somebody that's going to be paying my pension.
Yes.
I need you to know, and I need you to be able to pass it on,
Yes.
right? And like you said, back in the day, people used to tie knots behind their back so they won't. You can't take my job because you don't know how to do what I do.
Right.
See, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. You
It
have
shouldn't
to
be.
pass the knowledge on. You have to teach somebody. We work in businesses where people die all the time.
Yes.
Yes. Very stressful job. Extremely stressful job. Because there's always deadlines.
Well, dead.
In both ways.
Dead is the only line that I care about.
Right.
You know, I let the companies worry about the deadlines.
Yeah.
Right. I make sure, especially when I'm in a foreman, a walking boss.
Right. And let me stop you for 1 second. 'Cause everybody knows out there, Chris is an iron worker. And a lot of times, if you don't know what an iron worker is out there, an iron worker is somebody that puts the usually structural steel
Yes.
for buildings, bridges, and what have you.
The last project I worked on is phase 2 of the Kosciuszko. We erected every phase of that bridge, the steel, the precast concrete.
Right.
We did the cables.
But tell people out there so they understand, right? Because sometimes people don't understand the magnitude of this because you work up very in high heights. Like the heights are incredible. And any one wrong thing can happen. It's a different story.
That's your ass, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, it's a different story. So trades.
It's the same thing with Mark, though. You touched the
the wrong wire. Well, same thing in carpentry because we work in buildings with no friggin' walls. Like I work
Holes
on
in the floor.
holes in the floor, decks that you're open, 30, 40, 50 stories in the air.
The whole
Very dangerous. And you too.
Dangerous.
Even what you do is very.
Are you kidding me? He can get hit by any.
the car, but
morons
the
are on the
mechanism.
road today. We'll run these guys over.
But the mechanisms that those
know,
garbage trucks are. I mean, I've heard the horror stories.
Well, you know Billy Buckman.
Yes,
Yes,
we
Bill.
lost the finger. Right.
You know what he did. You don't know what he did, but I know what he did.
No, I don't. I mean, I know he's got
But-
no finger no more.
Yeah.
What else is there to know?
Well, no, he just what he did. If he didn't do that, it would have never happened.
Right. Right.
People don't watch what they do.
Yep.
They stand behind the truck when they're cycling it.
Complacency.
You're not supposed to stand
Yep.
behind the truck. We were taught to stand to the side
Side
of the
on
truck.
it.
To the side of the truck.
Guys like to, as the garbage getting cycled up like a big wooden door, a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
They want to try, it's falling. They want to try and hold it up. No, let it fall.
Pick it up.
Yep.
Get it up on the next crunch.
That's it. That's it. I
That's
agree
it.
100%.
Just,
A lot of injuries come from complacency.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, once you get a little too comfortable,
That's
things
it,
tend
complacency,
to
that's it. Oh, I've done this 100
tend
times.
to go.
I got no worries.
Yeah, tend to go in a different direction. It's a tough decision to make sometimes when you're like, I got this, and next thing you know, you ain't got it.
How about 5 to 3? Oh, I got to hurry up, get this done.
Done. Right.
I got to get home.
That's when it
Yes.
happens.
That's exactly when it happens.
Yep.
Friday.
That's when Murphy shows up.
Friday.
That's when Murphy shows up.
So
Unfortunately.
let's see, Chris. Besides the bridge, was the tallest structure you work on?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe 10-story, 8.
10-story.
Yeah.
That's not too
No,
bad.
I work in Brooklyn.
Oh, so yes, it's not.
So
It's
there's
not- I'm
height
not-
limits. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a Manhattan guy. Manhattan guys work, they do those 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
I have plenty of friends that were at the Freedom Tower.
Right. Right. And that's another thing about us as tradesmen too. We have a certain unity and loyalty to our people as a whole. I think, when we look around the structures, everything from somebody who's picking up the debris to somebody who's building a structure to somebody who's doing finished work to somebody like me that's laying out buildings all the time. Every time everybody out there looks around and where you live, where you shop, where you eat, the bridges you cross and the buildings you go through belong to us.
Absolutely.
That's very true.
They belong to us. And a lot of people tend to look past that, because they see tradesmen as, kind of like
construction workers.
construction workers.
Just
The guys
They're
that
there
beep the
doing
horns
their
at,
thing.
get the hell out of my way. I got to get home.
Right, right.
How many times have I heard that?
Yeah, and in actuality,
You guys
it's
suck. When's this job
right.
gonna be
When's the
done?
job going to be done?
when are they going to finish this?
Right. How about thank you works really well. How about that one?
I have to say that I get a lot of time. Wow, it really is looking beautiful. Like they try to lead into the when's it gonna get done?
Yeah.
They give you the little pat on the ass first.
Yeah.
I get some of that. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are
And
definitely
so
not
that's going to bring me
appreciated
up
as much as we
to
should,
my
right?
next Oscar. Okay. So I got another one.
I want to
Go ahead, Mark.
get a little footnote from earlier. You guys were talking about stories. Something that I was told probably in about 87, 88 by an Irishman with his real thick brogue about keeping warm 60 floors up. And
Shit.
to wear your mother's or your girl's pantyhose.
Back then, yes.
And I wore
Yeah.
pantyhose
Back then, and it
quite
worked.
often to stay warm.
To stay
It's
warm.
better than the quilted long johns
But
I
it
had.
worked.
Well, yeah, it worked.
It's funny.
Yeah, it worked.
In construction, I think in construction we have the most, aside from baseball, probably the most superstitions and the most craziest things we do on site to keep us in a certain order so we don't mess with our fucking juju.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it's a craziness that we all have. And I just don't get it. So
Human nature.
in light of of the Oscars, I think the Oscar goes for the hardest hat that wears a hard hat in this business goes to Mr. Chris Rosati. He needs no hard hat. He's got a head.
Thank you,
hard
sir.
enough.
Thank you, sir.
My Mr. Ironworker.
My father always used to tell me, and I want to thank you all for this award. He imparted into me, a hard head makes for a soft ass.
That's right. That is I heard that saying twice this past week.
I think about a lot of these things that we do on construction sites. And we have these little idiosyncrasies that we all do, at work, like me, one of the guys noticed the other day when I come into work the first thing in the morning, I have like this little routine I do, like I set up my desk a certain way. I open up the plans to a certain page and I kind of check certain things every day. And it's kind of like this weird OCD thing that I have. But I think a lot of people in the trades have that. We all have that certain thing about us.
If you have pride.
Yes. Well, I think that's where it comes
If you
from.
have pride.
Certain people in the
If
industry.
you have
Well,
pride.
I mean, from what I see.
Unfortunately, everybody's not an all-star.
Right.
But most all-stars are OCD.
Yes. Yes. I find that
Yeah.
the more you tend to worry about things and check and then double check and then double check and then check again, you have a tendency to, I think with our work, we do that, right? Because even as a guy who's installing something, once he collects the information the first couple of times he does it and creates a rhythm on his own.
Yep.
We see it all the time, like what you do. There's a cadence almost, right? When you go down the block, the truck parks in a certain spot and know this guy goes that way, this guy goes this way, and it becomes a cadence,
That's right.
right?
The delicate dance.
It's like an orchestra,
an orchestrated,
symphony, right?
orchestrated dance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think you have to have that. I think when you get into a certain rhythm, working in a certain position, you get into a rhythm, you create this mastermind on your own. It's kind of like, well, shit, I know how to do this. And like, wow, look, I can get faster at it. I can do it better. There's another material I can learn to use. There's this thing there.
Sure.
And I think a lot of us thrive on that. When I watch a guy get into a rhythm on work, I'm like, fuck, that's incredible. That's incredible.
So to that, I don't know if you guys do this, but in my industry, it's always like you're partnered with a guy.
Yeah.
And then there's other two guys, and there's always,
Yeah.
I'm going to beat you. I mean, it's just, it is what it is.
It is.
You know? And the running joke is, oh, it's not a race.
Yeah.
But it's always a race.
It's always a race.
So same thing with you, right? Like when you guys are out there, and I know I've seen it. I watch guys create that rhythm when I see them picking up garbage out there, and I see them. There's a certain way they do things every single time, and you'll see them. This one hops off, that one runs ahead. This one, I mean, as
just to get the route done and get done for the day and then go home.
Back to
Right.
the garage.
right,
They got a routine. I had a routine when I was picking up garbage. They have a routine. They got a certain way they do the route. All right, you do this side, I'll do this side. Okay, today I'll do this. You know,
Right.
they,
Yeah.
they work together.
yeah,
But I just want to let you know. I don't know if you didn't know, I was in the construction field.
I
know
didn't know. I didn't remember that.
I was in local roofing and waterproofing
For
8 years.
I didn't know that.
Yep,
So you think you're on top?
Wow.
I am.
All right.
How
I'm
about
just
that?
saying. I'm just saying.
No,
He's like, first I was on the roof, and now
No,
I'm
no,
on the
no.
ground.
No, I did it for 8 years, 9 years. I did Madison Square Garden, a couple of telephone companies. We didn't do residential, only commercial.
Got you.
Local roofing.
I heard you're the reason they're not allowed to use blowtorches in the city anymore.
I wouldn't know. I've been out of
Talking to
that.
the mic. What are you doing?
I've been out of there since.
Let everybody say hello.
Let me see.
Stop being such a.
20 years now? 21 years? I'm going to fucking take that.
Shove it up your ass.
Yeah, but 21 years
This
I'm out
spot
of it now.
team.
Oh. Out there.
Team.
For you out there, we're not going to repeat what that means. Mark.
Yes, Jim.
How did you get into Local 3?
I came out of high school. I went to work for an old alumni of Grady, and he wound up going union, and I went along with him.
Nice.
Big ups to Grady.
Yeah, big ups.
That's what's up. Brooklyn. All my Brooklyn heads out there.
Westinghouse, Edison, Grady.
Yep.
I think there
All these
should
trade schools.
really be a resurgence of
Tell us why, Mark.
When did you go to Grady?
85 to 89.
I was there in 78.
Yeah, we know you're old.
78 to 8. Fucking motherfucker. I'm going to hit you over the head with my Oscar.
With my Oscar.
Don't break it.
I don't know the entire reason, but my philosophy is that, young men and women, because
Yes.
I'm really enjoying seeing a lot of women in the
We
trades.
talked about that earlier.
I'm really enjoying
I have
it.
a
Really enjoying
team.
it.
I have a team of women tapers on my job. There's 7 of them, and when I tell you they come in and
Light it up.
oh my goodness, not a peep,
I got respect for tapers.
not a peep.
I could do a lot of things. I do not have patience to tape.
Watch
That's
these
one of the
ladies work.
easiest things to do. It's all about your technique.
It's technique.
It's technique.
I have
Yep.
no patience.
How could it's so easy to put that shit on the wall? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
Put
I
that
love when
shit on
people
the
say
wall
that.
and tell me if it don't look like shit after you put it up, because it's so easy.
Because it's easy.
Game
I
of
love
pressure.
When
Well-
you watch a pro do it, oh my
Yes.
God, doesn't it look
No.
so goddamn
That's
easy?
And
what
they
you gotta
work.
do is just
And on my job, half of them are on stilts. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
You've seen them work on the stilts.
Yeah.
No, come on. It's
Dude,
it's incredible.
They're I'm telling you.
Big shout out to all my
absolutely.
tapers out
I have
there.
respect. I'm
telling
just
you.
saying. I finished my basement by myself. I would not do the sheetrock. It was
Yeah.
66 boards. I'm not doing it by myself.
Right.
I couldn't get the material for as much as they hung it, taped it, spackled it. I couldn't touch it. And they did it all in purple board.
Yeah, that's what we use.
It was amazing. 3 days in, out, 3
Yeah,
coats.
done.
I was like,
Yeah. That's the way we
I'll
do
never
it.
do sheetrock again.
I love that shit. Love. Wait, I got my last Oscar for the night. Hold on. I finally figured it out.
Oh, is there a repeat winner here?
No, I think it's gonna go to you. But it's the last one. There's somebody there without one. Then
No, I don't need an Oscar. I am Oscar.
I thought he.
I've
was
never
Oscar.
seen you grouchy, so I don't know if you're talking about that.
All right, so everybody knows we've been talking to Mark a lot about. He's got a lot of. So the Oscar for the most diverse, eclectic use of getting shocked is Mr. Mach Bartolomeo.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Shannon.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Joe.
Congratulations.
I'd like to say thank you
goat
to
thanks
my brother-in-law, Carl Beanie, who's a fireman who passed away in the towers, and he was fireman. They have their businesses on the side. And when I got my working papers at 16 years old, he gave me my first job.
Give you your first job?
Yeah, and I
That's
worked
what's
with
up.
him, hustled hard, and I watched, and I wanted
Everything.
to learn. I
Everything.
wanted to learn. I'm a total perfectionist and OCD. I worry about the people who have worked there before me, the people who are working around me, and the guy or the gal who's going to be there working after me.
Yes.
I really do have a level of respect and awareness of the other people who are
trades.
doing their thing, like I'm doing, at the highest level. So I'm an anomaly on a job site.
I love that. I love the idea. Well, first of all,
I love it too.
I enjoy it.
it's great,
so
but
much.
we all know on construction sites, shit, me firsthand, being the carpenter, lead carpenter on the job.
Had to throw that in there.
Well, foreman, let's throw that one in there. But the idea is that we don't always get along.
No, we don't.
When you're working in a construction site, we don't always get along all the time. Let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that there's way too much testosterone in one room, and that's the end of that.
What are you gonna do? I mean, it breeds.
But we all know
We want to be the best at what we do, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a big personality. We're big
Oh,
personality people.
Yeah, sure.
time.
Definitely.
Right?
100%
So,
agree.
big-
Most tradesmen are.
Big personalities. There's only so much space.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Yes. And it happens.
Screaming, yelling,
Yelling,
throwing
screaming,
shit.
throwing shit, holes in the
And-
walls, sheetrock getting torn
End of
down.
the day,
Yeah.
we go to the bar.
We all go to the bar and have a drink.
That's it.
That's the way it's done. But that's what happens on the site sometimes. We all tend to agree to disagree sometimes. But the betterment of the job never stops. Absolutely takes on a life of its own.
Yes,
We
it
all
does.
know that, right?
Yes, it do.
It doesn't matter. What we like to think sometimes, there's one thing in construction is very much like being a chef, and why I like it so much is that it's a put up or shut up type of business. There is no bullshit about it. Like, you can walk on a job and talk all the nonsense and junk you want.
Yeah.
I know how to do this, that, this, and the
Right.
other thing.
Show
But what
me.
happens?
Let's
Mark?
see what your pie
Show me.
looks like after it comes out of the oven.
Show me.
It's construction, building that's it, like a recipe. You
Yep.
have a whole bunch of raw materials and ingredients.
Yep.
You put it together, and when it's done, you say, "Wow, who did that?" Or,
Right.
"Wow, who did that?" It's a big difference. It's a big fucking difference.
There's a difference between when you leave a job and somebody goes, "No, a good job," and somebody goes, "Fucking shoemaker."
Shoemaker.
Shoemaker.
Yeah, the thing about our business, though,
And no offense to any shoemakers out there.
when you're
Sal.
when you're in a local, you get a reputation. So people know you before you get on the job.
Yes.
This guy's a good hand.
Yes.
I want this guy.
I want this guy.
I don't want this guy.
Right.
So you build your reputation.
Yep.
Right. And in the trade, you can't lie.
That's it.
That's the end of it. Same deal, you know what I
Can't
mean?
lie.
You, so you can hang sheetrock. Okay, there you go. There's a
Go
wall.
ahead.
Hang the sheetrock.
There's sheetrock right there.
There's a pile of it. That pile needs to make this look like that. So
go.
you get that from there to there and make it look good.
And you're working with him.
Right. Exactly.
I'll be back with 2 hours.
I better hear screw guns going and sheetrock getting cut. And there's no fooling nobody. I mean, that's what I love about the trade so much. Like, you can't really bullshit your way out too much. It's kind of like being a chef. You walk into the kitchen, the guy goes, "Okay, there's the recipe. There's your pots and pans. Go to work." No bullshit. Same idea.
How does that taste?
You can't fix that one. It shows up pretty quick. I like that idea. I like the idea of people having that ownership for the amount of work that they do, And in this business, guys are very proud about that.
I love the satisfaction.
That's at the ultimate. That's the end of the day. That's the ultimate reward for the constructor.
Yeah.
If you really enjoy what you do, right? They say you never work a day in your life, even though we work hard. It's the satisfaction of knowing that there is something tangible
at the
that's
end.
in the end result.
My kids hate me.
That's gonna
My kids hate me.
stand there.
We drive, and I go, "Look, Daddy, worked on that building.
Yeah.
I worked on this bridge. I worked on that. I worked on that building. I worked over here. We did repair. Daddy, did you build that too?
There is a satisfaction in it.
There is a satisfaction.
And I say to them, yeah, I might be bugging you now, but when I'm gone, you're gonna drive by and go,
You're going to repeat that.
Daddy
My father
worked on
built that. My daddy worked on that.
Yep.
So you could say you know, you could bug me all you want, but someday you're gonna say, my dad had a part of that.
That's the truest of all things. I think the idea we enjoy the most, and I do especially, is the end result. It's the end result going. And I was saying this the other day. I was sitting in the living room, and me and Lou were talking, and my mom was here, and we were just sitting there, and I'm like, man, I'm like 3 months away from building 210 apartments in a building that was nothing when I walked in there. Nothing. And to me, sometimes it's hard for me to believe. First of all, when it comes down to the end, and we all know when you're coming towards the end of a job or whatever,
you could feel it.
You could feel it,
the tension.
And you're like, the tension gets thicker, but you're like, man, this is never going to be done. This will never be finished. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay.
So, like I was saying, my last project was the Kosciuszko Bridge.
Yep.
And I went out as an iron worker.
Right.
And I was in the gang. We were doing,
and that's what we call our crews out there. Everybody, we call them gangs.
Gangs.
My gang consisted of, there was 6 of us, 5 journeymen and an apprentice and a foreman. And we started out. There was no steel. There were no approaches. There were just some piers with open space between them, and then they had 2 concrete pillars going up.
Chris, talk a little bit.
With the 2 concrete pillars going up, and those weren't finished. They still had the systems on them, jumping, pouring concrete.
Yeah.
Right? I had a hand in every part of this bridge. I set the concrete girders for the approaches. I set the steel boxes that go in the concrete towers that take the cables. I set the steel. I set the precast concrete. I set the cables. There's nothing I didn't do on this.
Each phase you had.
I had a hand in everything. I was in every phase.
Right.
And I went from being a worker to being a foreman to being the walking boss.
Yeah.
And this was the most gratifying job. I built a bridge, man.
Yeah.
You know?
It's rewarding. That's definitely rewarding.
Shit. I look at people sometimes and I say to myself, you know, I got friends that do crazy shit. I just do. And they are the most amazing fucking people I know. I shit you not.
I just love it.
Every one of them.
Love it.
Every one of them.
And when we're setting steel and we got these 2 guys, me and my partner, and, you know, I get off on it because I'm fat and old, you know, and I got couple 20-somethings over there, and we're kicking their asses. And they're like, "Yeah, the old guys beat you."
I love that. I love.
You guys got finesse. They have strength.
Yes,
but finesse.
Well, you know, the long haul. You got to be in it for the long haul.
But we don't stop either. Me and my partner. Like, when you get a partner, you get a rhythm. Like he was saying,
it's a rhythm.
It's like an orchestra. You know, like you're orchestrated. You're choreographed. Like this needs to get done. You're doing that. This needs to get done. I'm doing that, and it just keep it moving. I'm looking over there, like you guys got your bolts ready.
No, but you know what's funny?
And often there's not even a lot of talk between you and your partner because you guys are you're reading each other's.
If you're working with somebody long enough,
if you definitely,
definitely
it should be that way. It better be that way.
Definitely get a rhythm, and like you said, if you're doing the same thing, like okay, today we're erecting this girder.
Right.
Yeah, you did this 100 times. Maybe it's more bolts or less bolts, but it's the same thing.
Right.
So yes, you and you know it doesn't matter if I do this or he does this. We can both do it, and we both know. You just know what needs to be done.
Yeah, the steps, the process.
If you get to it first, then okay, you got it.
I move on to the next thing, and you finish that.
Yeah.
You need help finishing that. It's just yeah. But then
I love that idea.
And then you could watch guys that they just can't work together.
I love that idea.
What's also wonderful about the building trades is that your environment changes.
It's fluid.
6 months, 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew as a child I did not want to be stuck in a cubicle or an
Right.
office
Oh, I
for
don't blame you.
25, 30 years
I
of my
tried that.
fucking life.
I tried that. It don't work.
I knew I couldn't do
It
it.
doesn't work for me.
What can I do that I'm interested, that'll keep me moving, fresh places, new places to eat,
Yeah.
new scenery, new people,
Absolutely.
new experiences,
New
in building.
Well, the idea of the stimulation, I think for us too, you know, being in this type of business where we get to move around a lot. So the idea is the stimulation for us really works, right? So when you get on a new site or you're starting a new job or a new task or something, you get
Boom.
excited about
You
it.
get
That's
that
right.
little
You get-
spark in
That's
you.
oh,
right.
fuck you. You get
That's
that
right.
rush.
right.
I tell you, I've been doing it a long time, and I still, the night before I go to a new job, find it hard to go to bed.
You can't sleep.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You can't sleep.
I still find it hard to go to bed. Like, wow, what's it going to be tomorrow? What's it going to be?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I love that.
Yeah, so do I.
It's the experience.
I love working outside. I don't care the temperature. I hate the heat. That's I hate it. But listen,
Right.
it's what we signed up for.
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, the cold. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I work outside. I work heights. I get some great views.
I'm sure.
I get some
I'm
great
sure.
views.
I'm
My
sure.
scenery building that Koski.
Talk amongst yourselves. I got to pee.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
TMI.
You know, I got some great city shots with the sun dropping. You know, I had some. It was a really great job.
See, those are the things I miss when I left the roofers union. You know,
You on
change
top
your
of the
scenery. No, well, change your scenery. You know, every day different job. I was a foreman. I was a mechanic. You know, and then layoff came. I went back to the hall. You know, but it just wasn't the same.
It keeps things from getting stale.
Right. And you go to another company and you're working on something else. I mean, I've done jobs I can't even tell you. Evidently, I couldn't stay there. It wasn't paying the bills like I needed to. So I took the sanitation test, and that's where I ended up. And now I'm a supervisor, and love it. Love it. 2 years ago to retire.
Good for
No,
you.
I'm done.
Good for
20
you.
years. That's how quick it went.
And Mark, like 20, 30 years in the business.
I'm 33, 34 years.
So you've moved around a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You have some of your favorite jobs that you remember?
I can't pull any.
Built that bathroom.
I like all different aspects. I've done all types of residential. I've done lots of institutional. I've done industrial. I've done retail. It's
And
all exciting.
And television. Then I told you, right?
And
11 years on TV. So everybody out there, go look up his old shows, Kitchen Crashes. You'll love them.
200 televised renovations.
That's right.
Alone.
And that's what's up right there. You don't discount that shit. You think it's hard building on a site? Let me tell you something. Production and in the producer's world, when you're traveling from location, because I did it with the food, when you're traveling from location to location, you're working everything out of a van, a bus,
Yeah.
or
It's
generators.
Raw. It's raw.
It sucks.
It's raw.
I can't even tell you. It's
Yeah, but then
horrible.
on top of it, you have to do the
Then you got-
renovation
right.
too.
Yes.
You're
right.
doing
So
the work and you
Or
got to
have
perform.
Or you
Tell
have
'em.
to cook the food.
You got to
Tell 'em.
perform.
Same thing. People think like, oh my God. I'm like, no fucking way. I'm the one standing out there in 100 degrees making all those dishes.
Yeah.
Same with you.
Yeah.
You're out on location. People are like, oh, he must have a team. And I'm like, listen to me. He's got a saw, a tool belt on for a reason. He's using it. This ain't a show and no go. This is all go and holy shit, I got a show.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. It's like, you have to be skilled at what you do. People think that's the other way around. Like, oh, you got a TV show. I'm like, no. You had to have the skill in order to get the TV show.
Yes,
It didn't
indeed.
work the other way around.
Right.
You're not just the host.
Right. Right.
I worked for this spot.
I heard that.
Right.
Most of the homeowners say, I have to tell you, shit, I did not expect you to know what you do or work
Right.
like
As
you do,
hard as you
or
do.
work as hard as you do.
Right. People
Never
get that
expected.
misconception.
Never expected.
And not only that,
That's
you're
just who I am. My
cut-
constitution.
Yeah, cut from
My
a different
constitution.
stone. It's like, it's different. It's like, I didn't go and have a television show because I was pretending to be a chef. I'm a chef, and it just happened to have the opportunity to do that.
Right. This just
Believe
happened
me,
to
folks.
come around.
He's a chef.
But listen to me,
Food is
folks.
delicious.
It's almost that time. It's reaching almost 8 p.m. I can't even tell you. It's always wonderful when I have amazing guests on the podcast. This is the Everything and Nothing podcast. I tell everybody the same thing all the time. Everybody has a voice and everybody has a face. We all should be heard. We should all be seen. We should all have this idea that what it is we feel and what we want to say should be for everybody at all times. Now, listen to me. These gentlemen sitting at this table, I'm honored. True tradesmen and everybody out there, remember, once you learn something or you are taught something or you have the opportunity to teach somebody something, make sure it comes from the heart. Make sure it's done with good intentions. That's the reason we are who we are, because what was passed on to us. Now, everybody knows how I end my podcast, and that's always by passing on good fortune, and that's what these are. So I'll show everybody how it goes. We got 4 of them. 4 go in the table. Everybody takes one, but do not open it. So take your fortune cookie. Everybody knows how much I love
Danny,
this.
one.
Thank you.
What? So you take your fortune cookie. You only get one, Danny.
You know what?
You take.
Well, you didn't want to hand it to Mark.
No, I don't. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to take your own. So when you have it now, you pass it to the right. So that's the idea with the fortune, is that when you are given good fortune, the idea, and what we do as tradesmen as well, is that we pass our good fortune on, and that's why you don't open up your own fortune cookie. So all right, let's open them up and see what kind of fortune we passed on to each other.
I love the smell of the citrus in the cookie.
Oh, so that little bit of, I get the vanilla most. He's maybe old.
And I eat at least half of it before I read a fortune.
They're still good.
Do we have to throw in bed at the end of it?
Ready to go?
You usually go, right?
What? All right. Now we're all crunching on. Everybody hears the cookie, how crunchy it is?
Guess
That's
what?
what's up.
Guess what, Shane? You ain't getting a fortune.
You didn't get one?
That was mine.
You're the most fortunate person.
That's
Corny
me.
but cute.
Right? We
You're
passed
the
it
most.
around.
Yep.
You gave me one without a fortune in it.
No, I didn't. He did.
I did. That's me.
Yeah, I know your point. They said you gave me one without a fortune.
All right.
So Mark says, fortune not found, abort, retry, ignore.
Is that what it says? Really?
Wow.
Oh, say it again.
Fortune not found, abort, retry, ignore. And with
Wow.
a question mark.
Wow.
That's the most interesting shit ever.
In
I
bed.
In
And then it says in bed.
No.
Oh,
I tell you,
you got the best fortune.
I got no fortune.
No,
This is Mark's fortune.
that's not Mark's
No,
fortune.
it's
Mark
yours.
gave it to you.
Oh.
Let me stop you again.
Oh.
Let me explain to everybody how this works, because that's why he's got the hard head, Oscar. Because you don't listen. When you take a fortune cookie, you're not supposed to open your own fortune cookie. You
Right.
pass your fortune. You're giving your good fortune to somebody else.
Oh.
So Mark gave you his good fortune. That's what you got. So Mark,
Thanks
what do you
for-
got?
So thanks for nothing, Mark?
apparently so.
Well, no. Thank you. Thank him for giving you the opportunity to have no limits. All of those things are there's no boundaries.
All right.
That's why you got to look at it.
Okay.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Mine's pretty funny and appropriate for Chinese food.
Great.
You will be hungry in 1 hour again.
Well, that's why you only ate half your fortune cookie. So you got an hour's worth of fortune cookie here. I love it. Danny, what do you got for us?
You are a
Come on, talking to the mic for the last
you
time.
are a perfectionist. Don't spoil it.
Oh,
Ah.
that's why you couldn't deal with having no fortune. You son of a bitch. You son of a...
Fucking-
Always
I
shortchanging
get
somebody.
no respect.
Go back to over there where you live over there.
All right, let me see what it says here. He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. Let me tell you something. I once knew myself, and I kicked the shit out of that motherfucker and sent him on his way. This guy is a new fucking guy. I shit you not. Now, again, I can't say thank you enough for you guys coming and being part of
It was
this.
a pleasure
Thank
to
you
be
for
here. In the old kitchen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you remember?
100%. Thank you for inviting me.
And to my amazing co-host today, an Oscar winner for the most elaborate way to use a jumpsuit, goes to Mr. Danny Gags. And folks, I gotta sign out. So, the GOAT has said it's over.
Have a good night, everybody.
Just picked this up in Chinatown. A good luck coin. During Chinese New Year, you give them, everyone give you money. They give you a little envelope. You ever see the little envelopes with the money?
Yeah.
You hang it over your door. But anyhow, we were down in Chinatown for acupuncture on our way before we got here.
Nice.
And I was like, you supposed, right? You give your fortune away. You come into someone's house. You wish them well and fortune, whatever that fortune may be. Not money, is happiness, health, whatever it may be. This is for you guys.
It's like the what's that little thing on the door with the in a Jewish home?
Oh.